Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being early, everyone. We're going to get started here in just a couple of minutes. So we appreciate you waking up with us today. I'm going to go ahead and bring the Facebook Live audience in. We like to have our Facebook friends join us too every week. So I'm going to get that ready here. Let us know, let our panelists know where you're tuning in from, everyone. Feel free to use the chat box and the Q&A box. We are here for you. And see, there's always a slight delay on Facebook. So now I've got that ready to go. All right. I see Ryan watching us on Facebook. Hello, Ryan. Okay, let's see who some of your new friends are, Lori and Colleen. We've got Shanita from Wisconsin. Hi, Shanita. Jared from Rochester, Minnesota. And Linda from Indianapolis, Indiana. So good representation. Robin from Cambridge. Hi, Janie in Avon, Indiana. She's on the west side of Indy. Do we have anyone from Canada in the house yet? There we go. Carlin from London, Ontario. Welcome, Carlin. We had Matt on last week. Look at all those friends and happy people that are messaging all of you. All right, we've got Deepak from Brampton. Good to see everyone. Well, we're watching the attendance numbers grow. So this is a very, very exciting time for us to be having this particular session. Well, welcome everyone. It is official start time on this Tuesday, November 10th. It is 9 a.m. Central and 10 a.m. Eastern time. So welcome officially to the RE/MAX Business Builder Series. My name is Michelle Hoyt. I'm Manager of Education and Development for RE/MAX INTEGRA. We are an independent region of RE/MAX. Our footprint in North America makes up all of Ontario Atlantic region, as well as the Midwest and New England in the US. So we welcome all of you from those regions that are joining us this morning. We also welcome all of our RE/MAX friends. We've made lots of friends across the country on the West Coast, on Texas, and since this is the spirit of the electoral map, we could probably just put pins everywhere where you're all tuning in from. So we do appreciate all of you joining us this morning. So there could not be a better time of year than to talk about goal setting. And we've got two incredibly dynamic panelists this morning that have so much to share with all of you. So whether you're brand new to the business or you're 20 years in, and you will find that there's many, many different approaches to setting goals and doing business plans. And you're going to learn two different perspectives. There's no right or wrong answers, but you're going to get a lot of great ideas from both. So I guarantee you'll get takeaways and want to implement some of the things that both Lori and Colleen are talking about. So before we get started, for those of you on Zoom that are watching, please take note of the Q&A box and the chat box. We'd love to hear from you. So we have a lot to talk about, but I will also keep an eye on those questions and those comments, and we'll make sure that Colleen and Lori can answer as many of those as we possibly can. For those of you watching on Facebook, welcome, hello, and let me know. I'll keep an eye on those if you have any comments or questions you'd like to ask our panelists as well. So we're gonna go ahead and jump in and get started because again, this is a super popular topic in preparation for 2021. I know that so many of us are ready to put 2020 behind us, but we still want to make a strong finish. But you definitely should be looking ahead to the next 3 months, 6 months, and even year on where you want to be exactly 1 year from now, right? Okay, so let's have our illustrious panelists introduce themselves. We'll start with Lori. So Lori, tell us all about you, your market, your background, how you came to be at RE/MAX, and anything else you want us to know. If you have any hidden talents or fun facts that you want us to know about you.
Good morning, everybody. Michelle, thank you for inviting me to be on the webinar. And so I've been with RE/MAX for 25 years. Prior to getting into real estate, I was a law clerk, so that was a great background to have. I work out of Burlington, Ontario. So we're about 35 minutes west of Toronto and a population of just under 200,000. I have a small team, Kimberly Hall and Morgan Brooks, and then we have who just joined us, so that's pretty awesome. We're excited, and we have an administrative assistant. So we're pretty, we're pretty small. We just grew. So Kim and I were on our own for 10 years, the last 10 years, and Morgan just joined us, and Lori joined us about a year ago. What else?
Tell us about your market. What's going on there? What's your average sales price?
So our market has been incredible, to say that, like, we've had our best year ever, which is kind of shocking in a pandemic. Our average price for a detached home is hovering around just under 900,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's fantastic. Well, you know what? I will tell you, I've heard that from a lot of you out there, that you are having your best year ever, which just is a true testament to what discipline and planning and consistency that it does pay off. All right, so Colleen, we'd love to meet you. So please introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us about you, your background, your history with RE/MAX, and anything else you want us to know.
Good morning, everyone. Michelle, thanks for the invitation. Great to see everyone. Really an honor to be joining Lori this morning as well. I have been doing real estate now for 16 years. I'm a RE/MAX boomeranger. So I was with RE/MAX, left for a short period of time, and I'm thrilled to be back. I came back as the Director of Education for RE/MAX Shoreline. We have 2 offices, one in Portland, Maine, and one in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I work in the Portland market. Our population here is about 60,000, so pretty different from Lori's market. And our average sales price is $375,000, and that's gone up considerably in the last year. So that's a little bit about me.
Well, that sounds great. So anything special going on in your market that you want to share?
It's been also a great year here. We expect that market to continue. Just with regard to goal setting, I think that, we all had to do some pivoting this year in terms of what our plans were. And it's been really busy. So it's nice to have this time to regroup and to sit back and think about, okay, what's happened this past year and where do we want to go from here? It's expected to continue to be busy.
That's fantastic. So Colleen kind of wears 2 hats, if you would, in her brokerage, as Director of Education, but then also she's still doing her own real estate business. So you are juggling quite a bit, and I would imagine you definitely need to set some goals for yourself and stay organized. Well, so just so everyone knows, both Lori and Colleen they will be sharing their screens, or will be sharing the screen to show you some of the key tools that they have. And I think you'll really enjoy that. So we'll be sharing in just a moment. But let's talk about how this all began for you in real estate. So we'll start with you, Colleen. Before you got into real estate, did you have any history with goal setting or any experience with that? And I guess, how did goal setting even get on your radar, especially when you were just getting started in real estate?
Previously to getting into real estate, I was in healthcare, and I was in the business of healthcare, if you will. So I worked for home IV therapy companies. I started out in sales. And of course, in sales, you always have goals that you have to hit, and those goals are always being set higher and higher. And then I moved into a management position. So I was responsible for setting the goals of my branch, as well as helping the corporation hit its goals. I also have a master's in business administration. I have an MBA. So I've done a lot of really deep dive goal setting and a lot of deep dive business planning. And I don't think in real estate we need to do quite that much. I mean, there was a lot of, analyzing the market. I think in real estate, we can just really get down to business with goal setting. And of course, it's important to understand the market. We don't want to have a goal of, for instance, thinking we're going to get this huge listing in a market that isn't supporting that. But I think there's some easy ways to set some goals.
And Colleen, did you attend any goal setting workshops or business planning workshops when you first got in real estate?
I would say that that was a weak point for my early education. And I think that although I had a strong background in business planning and goal setting, I wasn't that familiar with the real estate market itself. So although I would set goals for myself, I wasn't always satisfied with, my achievement in those areas. And as I've gotten into the business, I've learned more how to be more focused in terms of what my goals are.
That's great. And having a sales background, as I'm sure a lot of you can relate, you are 100% goal driven. You've always got some goal to achieve, or as soon as you achieve one goal, then you're on to the next. So I'm sure that really served you well. Lori, let's talk about your history with goal setting. So when you first got into real estate, what was the approach, when you got into real estate, I guess, what was your experience with goal setting in your previous life? Any preconceived notions, any experience, and did you attend any workshops also?
So to be quite honest, zero background that way. And funny enough, I mean, I don't know if everybody experiences, but 25 years ago when I got into the business, I feel like goal setting wasn't a thing. I remember, the first brokerage I ever worked for, it kind of was like, they handed me the phone book and said, there's your database, start calling, knock on doors, do open houses kind of thing. But it was never, anyway, I wasn't influenced or mentored that way. And it took a lot of years in the business. And it's interesting, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but like we'll talk about pivoting and all that kind of thing. But at what point did you notice a difference in your business, and so for years and years and years, so I didn't have any background. I felt like it wasn't something on the brokerage level that was being encouraged. It just wasn't a thing. So, for years and years and years, I was hitting like, platinum, 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 platinum. And it wasn't going much beyond that. I was doing the same business every year until like there was pivotal moments. And when I started to realize, yes, I attended sessions. I started to attend a lot of them. And then I've been blessed with two amazing brokerages, Remax. And so our first broker, Wayne Quirk, Remax Garden City, he was probably the first introduction and very, very proactive with his agents in saying, hey, you guys need to do this. You need to set. So, but it was many years into my career, I would say, before that was even on the radar. And then Conrad Zarini's my broker of record now, and he's also brilliant and really pushes it. I would have to say, and I'm sure I can get this out later, but Ken Goodfellow, for somebody who I attended one of his business planning seminars, and it was brilliant. Valerie Garcia's done some good things. I've got one of her books, Setting Strategic Goals. It's a workbook. The biggest I would say influencing thing for me, or the best pivotal moment for me, was joining coaching. And then it almost doesn't, it's not even an option anymore. It's like, you must do this, you must. And for people who are out there and that's not their forte, or they feel intimidated by it, or they don't know where to start, reach out to people, reach out to your brokerage if it's not offered there. Talk to another realtor in your office who you admire and is doing great numbers and who you feel like has a really organized business, and ask them how they started. Get some mentoring and or coaching. So that's how the progression for me from like zero to now, I take it very seriously. And the numbers have, the results it's just proven.
And that's a solid bit of advice, everyone, from here's what I didn't do, but here's what I'm doing now. So both Colleen and Lori referenced that. And some of you are just early in your careers. And so this this session, you should have some really good takeaways from two very experienced experts in this area. So let's just talk really quickly, and then we're going to get into their steps and their actual plans and some of the things that they're doing. So when you went to set those goals when you were first in real estate, so you knew you had to do it, you knew how to go about it. What were you focused on? Were you focused on income? Were you focused on certain number of transactions? Share with us just a little bit and really quickly on what's maybe were there categories and how you went about that. So Colleen, we'll start with you.
I focused on what I was told to focus on, I guess. So I focused on setting a number and then also really trying to reach the people I knew, my sphere of influence, if you will. I think a mistake that I made early on was that I really tried to compartmentalize my life. So I was involved in a number of other areas. I was teaching business classes at our community college. I also had developed an art group. That's one of my interests. And so I felt that I really shouldn't let those people know that I was doing real estate. So I really narrowed the people that I was reaching instead of just letting everybody know that here I was available to do real estate, answer their questions, and help them with their goals. So that was something that I wish I had done much earlier on. And I would say that I just sort of, just kept reaching out to people. I would have some successes and build on those. But as Lori said, it wasn't really until later that I figured out. And now I work with two other agents. So we work specifically on marketing and goal setting. And that has really helped me in terms of my own accountability, setting goals. That's a process that has worked for me. So we don't work as a formal team as other teams may be structured. It's really for the purposes of marketing, accountability, and moving our businesses forward. We keep separate books of business.
Very good insight. And we're going to see in just a moment how Colleen is approaching all of this here in 2020. So Lori, let's talk about you. When you first went out to set those goals, once you admitted, which most of you watching right now can admit early in your career, you really didn't have any focus on that. You were trying to learn the business, but when you finally had that awareness, what buckets did you put in to each of your aspects of your business?
So I personally believe that you can't be everything to everybody. And for me anyway, true goal setting was, I love the information that is provided to you and the forms and the, things that you can get your hands on that you start with. I think one of the most important things is reviewing your numbers from last year or the year before, really breaking down, for instance, where did my business come from? Much like Colleen was saying, I'm a big people person, as most realtors are. And so most of my business is coming from referrals and past clients and a database, really. So I would say we pick our top 5 categories of where our business is coming from, look at those numbers, and then also looking at our ROI, right? The return on your investment. That's where you can shift during the year if you need to. But then focusing. So if, I've been blessed to have built some amazing referral relationships in the RE/MAX family over the years. This year we had 45 RE/MAX referrals come to us. I think it was something like 28 of them have already been sold and closed. It's 37% of the business. So partly for me in goal setting is doing things we like to do. Just because somebody, part of their big goal is, or their business plan is farming. And so then they're talking about budgeting, how much money are they going to spend every month on flyers? So for me, it's nurturing relationships. So then I look at how much money are we going to budget to allocate to client parties. Well, that's not a thing right now. So there's got to be some creative thinking on how we're going to deal with that going forward. Instead of having a client party this year, now in our business plan, it's going to be all of our A clients and our elite clients are getting a Christmas wreath, a fresh Christmas wreath. And that's not inexpensive to do. But on the other hand, if I was paying $5,000 or $7,000 for a Christmas party for clients, well, now I'm just spending that money on them, sending them something. So I think it's a matter of deciding where your business came from, what you want to expand on, what do you need to drop, budgeting, right, and having an action plan for all of those things. But I think the point I was trying to make is you don't have to have 20 action plans in your business plan. Dissect where your business is really coming from and focus on that. That's what we do.
Fantastic approach. All right, so now we're going to get into the examples and the best practices that both Colleen and Lori have been implementing. So we'll start with you, Colleen. I know you want to share your screen. So what Colleen's going to do is she's going to tell us about the steps she actually takes each year to set goals for herself. What does she put in writing? How does she break it down? And what, just in general, what her approach is to it. So, and Lori's going to do the same. And again, you're going to find, remember, one of the key things that Lori said at the beginning was, if you don't know what you're doing, ask for help. So Colleen has, she initially in her career, she did that, but she also had previous experience, but she's gotten to a place in her career in real estate where not only is she executing these business plans and goal setting, but she is now teaching others and mentoring the agents in her brokerage to do so. So Colleen, you have your screen share ready there?
Yes, and before I jump into that, Michelle, I just wanted to reinforce what Lori shared with the group. In preparation for today, what I did is we're actually starting our business planning next week here in the office. So I went through and I analyzed exactly where my business came from this past year, what was my average sales price for those transactions, and where did the business come from? And not only were they in my sphere of influence, but were they referred by someone else? I mean, someone said to me at one point, the referrer is more important than the referral. I mean, you really have to take care of referrers. If you've got a couple of people who are sending you business, and recommending you to other people, you really want to take care of them. So I'm going to show you a couple of tools that we've used in the past. So let me see if I can get over there, Michelle.
Okay, I'm looking at some of the comments. It looks like Linda said Lori dragged her to coaching. So that's way to go, Lori. If you can't get them there on their own, just drag them with you.
So the first thing that I have up is the RE/MAX Momentum program. And here in our brokerage, we have used this program in the past. And it's really great just in terms of getting you to look at, where's your business come from, helping you with the analysis, and helping you to plan for the next year. So that's one model that I think is out there and is very good and is available to people. We're currently using the full leverage agent model that's been developed by RE/MAX Northwest. And that is a full training program. It really takes a deep dive into business planning, and it's been great for our brokerage in terms of working with agents and new agents coming in, and also seasoned agents. Once I figure out, and this one I pulled up from a couple of years ago, just to show you what I like to have is a snapshot of where my business, of what I'm focusing on for the next year. So, and then I get into a deeper dive as I get sort of the big picture framed out. So the first thing that I have in my business plan always is sphere of influence. And so here, what am I doing? What is my goal? to maintain contact with my sphere, and then also to grow my contacts by 10%. And then I'm saying for a general strategy, I want to touch base at least 6 times a year. 2 of these are by phone. We had decided we wanted to focus on women business owners. And again, these things are changed now because of COVID, but we had actually developed a group called Together. We decided we wanted to focus on women business owners. And so we developed a whole strategy around that. And we went from just a handful of women in that group to over 100 women. And we met regularly. So that was a group we decided we wanted to focus on, and we had a strategy to do that. We also, at that time, decided we wanted to focus on businesses. A lot of businesses were trying to recruit people to Maine. Not everybody wants to move to Maine. We've got some cold winters here, and so not everybody is up for that. So we wanted to really try to showcase what Portland, Maine had to offer, and we thought that we could help businesses grow their businesses by developing a strategy around that. So this is my snapshot of the areas that I'm focusing in on this year. Buyer and listing transactions we wanted, and now we have beautiful buyer and seller packets so that they're grab and go, and they're now also available electronically. That was something that we had to do. And then other things we wanted to focus on were establishing our brand. My group is called Portland, Maine Living. So establishing the Portland, Maine Living brand. We decided that we were going to outsource how we were going to do that. And then social media, we decided that this was not an area where we were really great at. And so we were going to work with someone on the outside to develop a plan. So this is the big picture, the snapshot. And then from there, what I do is I get into, and again, this is just the model for you to take a look at. I tend to like to work with paper. So when I pulled up these sheets, they're sort of messy, goal-driven sheets with the detailed strategy on them. But for each area that I have, so my sphere of influence, then I would take a deeper dive into what am I going to do in terms of reaching that sphere, in terms of specifics, setting the budget, and then how are we going to measure success at the end of the year. And we evaluate what we're doing, how we're doing on a quarterly basis. So this is the format that I like. Once I have said, okay, this is where I want to go with my business, something really simple, and this is what's worked for me.
Colleen, I think this is amazing. And for those of you watching that are similar to myself, where you think setting a business plan sounds daunting and it sounds difficult and it sounds like it's going to take a long time. And you're going to see Lori has an incredible tracking sheet. So when I look at the snapshot that Colleen has done, to me, that looks easy. That looks doable. And as a creative type and someone who's a little intimidated by numbers, which some of you may be as well, I think that's a fantastic approach. First of all, you're getting a lot of shout outs about the niche, depending upon how you say it, that you've gone after, and the women business owners. Brilliant. So I think that's fantastic. So, I mean, that within each of your markets, there's got to be one special interest group that you could certainly target. You know, maybe it's investors this year. Maybe you want golf course living. Maybe it's whatever that specialty is, but really focusing on the community, I think is awesome, Colleen. So thank you for that. So let's see. Let me see if there's any other questions or comments. Cheryl says that looks great, well thought out, simple to use, see? So that's what caught my eye. But that was a Word document with a table inserted, and all you have to do is come up with all of that. So yes, a lot of you are asking, this is being recorded. It will be sent out afterwards. So let's go ahead and let's talk with Lori now about some of the steps she takes. So thank you, Colleen. That was incredible. All right, so I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to start with you, Lori. So I'll have you guide me. And meanwhile, please keep the questions coming in the chat. Oh, looks like Flora has a question while I'm transitioning for you, Colleen, how did you start that women's group online? If you could talk a little bit about that on the women's business owners.
Well, we actually started it pre-COVID. And so now we have a network of women who are connected, and we're able to, continue working with them. I mean, we have a database now, which is great. So we can continue to communicate with them. We do a monthly newsletter, that kind of thing. So we actually need to regroup and look at that for 2021, if, how we're going to continue to reach those women.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. So speaking of specialties and one key area of focus amongst all the others you focus on, we're going to have Lori share what her strategies are on a great effort she's made that's really paying off for her. So Lori?
Yeah, I just wanted to compliment Colleen and that's brilliant. I love that. And again, it's like, you don't have to do everything, do a few things really well and put your efforts in there. I also love the women's, women want to support women, not that they don't want to support men, but there's a real bond there and an encouragement to, we're cheerleaders of each other and encouragement and we're, I find that we're always trying to help each other, which is just an instinct, I feel. So kudos to you. And also, I mean, it's nice to see, I loved Colleen's business plan. I'm going to reach out and say, hey, can I borrow that? Anything that we have, I didn't prepare something like that. I could have, but it's good to have a variety, right? So now we're looking at this. Yes, Michelle. So for 25 years, as long as I've been in the with Remax, again, it's something you're passionate about, right? If you're passionate about it, if you love it, if it's authentic to you, then you're going to thrive doing it. And it's going to be enjoyable. If you go against your own grain, if you go against, just because somebody says you need to be farming, you need to send out 3,000 flyers. But if it doesn't serve you, you're not going to do it well. So I think for me, it is building and nurturing relationships. And I'll give you an example of we were talking about where to, when do you pivot? What, how do you adjust? If something isn't working, then change it up. But for 25 years, this has been a focus of mine to really build good relationships, solid relationships. And I love also what Colleen said about, let your ambassadors know, whether they be your clients, your database who are referring you, or realtors who are referring you, show your appreciation and show it immediately. It does not matter. And this is something, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's, a part of the business plan or part of goal setting, but it is, because it's part of the action plan that you need to take in order to increase that part of your business. You need to acknowledge, not reward, I don't even like that word, but you really need to let people know you appreciate them. So, for Colleen, I agree with her. And, whether that is, sending a case of wine to a client of yours who just referred you a solid lead. But here's the thing. Don't wait for that deal to go together. You're not thanking them for the commission check. You're thanking them for the thought, for them willing to be an ambassador, to give your name out, the trust they placed in you. And when you do that, whether the deal goes together or not, they will continuously think of you. So on the flip side, this is probably partly how I've built such a great referral business with realtors. And yeah, so this is a 2019, this 14%, 86%. And I didn't, I could have broken it down into smaller pieces of pie. However, it's the big picture, right? When you look at 86% of our business last year was from realtor referrals, past clients. And so it's the people connection. That's what I'm trying to relay. And then the other part is it's good, it's great, but it's not where you're connecting. So see where I tend to really work on the people part of the business. And so I don't know if you want to go to the next slide. And this again is older. We figured out our numbers for this year. With the 37% realtor referrals as an example, that was somewhere around $350,000 of our 902. It's an incredibly huge number.
Awesome.
And it's because that is something we've taken action plans on. We, even if I get a call, a Starbucks card, immediately, a handwritten note, Starbucks card goes to that realtor. I might never hear from the person they tried to refer. It's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's part of the action plan. Swag, that kind of thing. That comes from the budgeting. Like, how much money am I going to spend on that? So the ROI, I think you have another slide. So this again is realtor referral, and the return on the investment. A lot of people don't break this down, and I never did till 2 years ago. So think about that. 25 years in the real estate business. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I started to do this, and I was kind of like pushed into it because I was honored and to speak for Richard Robbins Coaching. And yes, that's a plug because I think they're amazing. But so my coach helped me get to this point. I had never done this up until 3 years ago. This is how you can really dissect, in my opinion, if you're spending X amount of money and that is generating this amount of money. If you think about, if you can make $1,400 almost on every dollar you spend, then are you going to put more effort in there? Are you going to continue to invest in that area of your business? So working out your ROI is really important. I think that's.
So Lori, I want you to talk a little bit about how you got to this point. So you're being very humble about your success. So this is amazing. And I want you to talk about, because you and I met for the first time at the RE/MAX R4 convention, and we've been socially connected ever since. So I think that if you can talk about the importance of that and sort of the approach you take to that, because you obviously, once you put it down on paper, you realize the impact of what your networking has done, and talk about what you do at those conventions, how you make the most of your time, and some of the bonds that you've formed.
Oh my God. So this is like my favorite topic. When you asked me to speak on like business planning and goal setting, well, the goal setting, I was like, oh, I'm actually not really good at that. So like, why are they asking me to? And then I was like, Michelle, can I talk about this instead? She's like, no. So again, doing something you really enjoy and being authentic to who you are allows you to shine. So going way back, I mean, my first RE/MAX convention, conference, whatever you want to call it, was 24 years ago. And I think what it is engaging with people. So I got to do this this whole session on relationship nurturing at an RI Masters Academy. And even though I was shaking in my boots, I think the point that I was trying to make to everybody is, when you go to a conference, don't just, it's not speed dating. You're not running around trying to meet as many people as you can. Here's my card. Here's my card. Like, connect with people, right? And the same, all of this stuff that I'm talking about, in fact, if people applied this to their database, if realtors applied this to nurturing their client database, well, then they're even good, they're not paying referral fees on that, right? But I love realtors and I have so much fun. But it's when you meet somebody, Paul Blay is somebody I admire very much. One of the things that he said that resonated with me is, look at the person you're talking to and say, so what's your story? Get to know the people, follow up. Any way that you can deliver value to your fellow realtors, share your stuff, bring swag, and be consistent. Go, I've consistently attended everything. I'm a conference junkie. I love it. Besides the business, and I don't do it just for business, it's so much fun. If you folks haven't done it and are not doing it, it's, again, just an area of my business or our business I chose to focus on.
No, this is good. And, this is perfect timing because REMAX LLC just announced they are planning to hold the REMAX R4 convention. It will be in Orlando, March 23rd to 25th. It will also be available virtually, as we don't know where the pandemic will be at that time, but they're offering two options. So if you haven't been to R4, I mean, obviously, if you're concerned about your health, and you should be, then it might not be the year to go. But if you can attend anything local, once hopefully things go back to normal. But in the meantime, take advantage of any local opportunities. But Lori, you've made some new best friends that you travel with, right? As a result of this, so much good can come out of this.
Honestly, I feel like, well, three of my absolute best friends live in British Columbia, which makes me sad, but you know, we've gone to each other's kids' weddings. They come to my cottage. I go out there. Like we're so close. But I also feel like I've made, you know, 1,000 friends, and I really true. Like I call them all friends, and we have to pivot. Here's an example. You know, I will not be attending R4, but I will virtually. You can connect with people. It was like you and I connecting, you know, and again, you know, people will remember you if you're authentic, if you make an impression on them, if you know, if you have the same vibe, you'll connect, and people will refer you business just because you've made a connection. It doesn't have to be in person. And going forward, obviously with COVID, a lot of our relationships will be built more online. But
let me just, sorry, I went ahead. If you just want to give a quick summary on this, and then I'm going to show you Lori's tracking sheet that she has received from Richard Robbins.
Right. So, well, this is self-explanatory, and I am like super pumped. Our goal was diamond. We may not make it, and I don't even care. You know, the truth is, like I said, 37% are realtor referrals. I love that part of the business. Just to flip it, you know, think about that too. Only 17% are client referrals. And I shouldn't say only, because that also was a huge part of our business. But so from the goal setting standpoint, in 2021, our focus is going to be more on and we're going to create a stronger action plan on, now, mind you, that last year was maybe 12%, and the year before that it was 9%. So it can keep going up as long as you know, adapt and pivot and have a strong action plan. So like, you can't just say, well, I want to change my 17% client referrals. Like those are referrals from clients in our database. Mm-hmm. If you want to grow that to 25%, what is your plan to do it? And then, you know, Colleen had really great stuff in her plan there that shows you, okay, well, you do, you know, maybe you're doing more touch points. Maybe you're, you know, emailing your clients more often. Maybe you're doing more pop buys. If you're a Buffini fan, then you know, you're using the Buffini system. So as long as you have a vehicle to get you there, and then you'll, you know, and focus on it, right?
Yep, definitely. So I'm going to pull up your tracking sheet here and just have you quit from a high level overview. Now, see, this would scare me as a creative type, but it looks incredible. And look at all these tabs. So if you can just give us sort of a quick high level overview of how this tracking sheet is used.
Okay, so this is why I love Richard Robbins coaching, and my coach specific. Shout out to Allison; she is like brilliant. It's, you know, you just actually work your way through it one tab at a time, and you just, well, okay. Truth be known, I don't do it, right? Like, focus on the things you're good at, right? So I'll be out there nurturing relationships. We have an administrative assistant that does this for us, and I can't even see if this is, yeah. So Lori does this for us with, you know.
So this is kind of small, but I'll read it out loud. But the first tab is the lead and appointment tracker. And then the next tab is tracking your pipeline. Next is goal setting. It just says goal setting simplified, and this is where it's already a spreadsheet. You can plug in these numbers. We'll be happy to share all of these resources that we're showing as well.
And Michelle, if I just may, so
Sure.
the reality of it is we don't use all of this. Like, we are not that deep. So some people will dig deep, some people will not dig deep.
Right.
I have one, and I think it's the same as what you have there. Goal setting simplified. If somebody just even does this, you know, when you start, don't try to, you know, we're not accountants. Maybe some people are, maybe, you know, maybe they're more of that analytical. They like to analyze their business. I think the important point is treat your business like a business. You know, do you just sell real estate or are you running a business? It doesn't mean that, you know, you can goal set using a piece of Bristol board and writing months down. And like in January, I'm doing this and this and this. And the truth be told, we have that in our office. I'm, you know, doing this from home today, but we have a Bristol board. It's, you know, and it's a January, this, and we get out different colored markers and it's fun. And
Sure. That's a way to do it.
And if you do have a team or a small team, or even if you just want to, you know, collaborate with another agent in your office, if it's a daunting task, you probably won't do it.
Right.
Make it fun, right?
Well, and thank you so much, Lori, for all that amazing insight and sharing and these resources. So this brings us to the next topic, which is very, very important, that your budget and budgeting is a very important part of your business planning. Colleen, can you talk a little bit about your approach to budgeting and kind of some of the key things that you do there?
Sure. Well, at this point, you know, we have a track record. You know, we know what we've spent on in certain areas. So we, you know, we do put numbers down to paper in terms of what we're going to spend, and then we're evaluating them on a quarterly basis. I mean, if it's a new program that we're trying to roll out, then it's a little more squishy in terms of being able to put numbers to them. But I think it's still important to put a number to what you're doing, and you're going to learn as you're going along. If it is if it's a particularly new program. So for instance, we just started, we have these fabulous buyer and seller packets now. We have them printed on high quality paper. It's something that we just started this year and they've been well received. So we're going to continue doing that. And that's something that, you know, we're going to definitely factor into our budget. Yesterday we were talking about our blog. We just moved over to the Bouge website. I'm not even sure if it's up because we just transitioned yesterday from our old website to the Bouge, and I love it. But there isn't a blog platform on there. So we have to do a little bit more. If we want to have a blog, we had a blog on our former website, but we were talking about, is that giving us value? I mean, is that moving our business forward? Are people looking at that? Is that worth our time of investment? Because it's not just dollars, right? It's time. So that's something that we've decided to table for now, and we're going to evaluate it as we move forward. So, you know, we're just starting to begin our business planning process, but I think it is important to have a budget set down.
Definitely. Any steps you take to measure your budget's effectiveness, or do you check in on it a couple times a year? Make any adjustments?
We check in on it quarterly, and thankfully one of the other agents that I work with keeps just a basic Excel spreadsheet. And so with three of us working on marketing, we're each contributing at various times. And so we do our best to do a reconciliation quarterly.
Okay, sounds good. Lori, any additional comments about budgeting? Hey, and there's nothing wrong with having somebody else do those spreadsheets, by the way.
No, but I also, because it is intimidating for a lot of people, I think what I was trying to say is, you know, it can be simple, it can be deep, just do it.
Right.
And I have a question for Colleen. I don't have anything to add because that, again, is not my forte. And so I'm curious, and I would love to hear in the chat too, who, what was I going to ask? It was about budgeting.
While you're
I-
thinking of that, I was gonna say, I see a lot of questions and comments, so we definitely want to get to those. Let me just take a quick pause and look at some of those. So I think, so there's a lot of shout outs about Lori's giveaway products at conventions. Looks like hand sanitizer, cleaning cloths. So yeah, Lori can, I have she sent me a whole presentation where on things that she does, and I will be happy to send that out as follow-up. And let's see what else we can see. There's a couple questions that have come in. This is a really good question. A brand new agent wants to know, what do you suggest to hit the ground running in terms of resources, training, planning, and finding business? Well, I wish we had more time, but I'm certain that Lori and Colleen can give you kind of their quick tips on that. So we'll start with you, Colleen.
I would say start with the people you know, of course. We've recently put a lot of focus on our newsletter. We do a newsletter once a month, and now I'm saying, why didn't we do that sooner? Because it's a way to reach people on a regular basis, and it's something that can be shared as well. So, you know, I think you just have to start chipping away and have some successes, and really just start focusing on people you know.
Great.
What do you think?
How about you, Lori? Someone brand new, how do they hit the ground running?
Yeah, I would say sphere of influence, you know, building relationships with those people, you know, and now we have to do a lot of that online, but, you know, reaching out, bomb videos. I don't do them, believe it or not. I'm scaredy pants with the video thing. So I should be doing it, not doing it. Again, something, you know, so if you're comfortable doing bomb, do that, send personal messages to people, stay in front of them. Open houses, you know, were my biggest tool in the beginning. We're not doing them. I think, yeah, just work your sphere of influence as strongly as you can, and items of value, like figure out 10 ways to deliver items of value to your database.
Right. And you know, the thing is, when you're brand new to real estate, you know a lot more people than you think you do. Just take a look at the number of contacts on your phone. It will really surprise you that your social media connections, you have to get all those people that already know you to see you differently. So it's like you're taking off the friend and family hat, you're putting on your real estate hat, and you have to start really promoting yourself. And it takes time. It's not a short-term payoff. It's something that you have to be patient with, but we welcome you to real estate, by the way, so we wish you the very best. And these are the type of sessions that will hopefully help you. So it looks like someone's asking for the buyer-seller packets you've been using this year. That was you, Colleen, correct? Do you have any PDFs or screenshots of that you can share?
I do have a PDF there through the full leverage agent
Okay.
system.
And
And
copyrighted or?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the thing. When you have coaching, everyone, when you get to a place in your career, if you're newer, or you go to coaching, then they are sometimes very protective of proprietary information. And Lori even reached out to her coach to get permission to share, and she got that permission. Well, quite frankly, that's free advertising for them. So,
oh yeah, they will share anything, and so will I.
Okay.
I mean, I just believe in sharing.
Okay.
I think it helps us all. And so we have developed some buyer and seller packages. We just completed, it's been on my to-do list forever. And anything I have, I'm willing to share. They are they are in PDF form. So buyer seller packages, and I don't have them on I'm not techie. I can't screen share. But if anybody wants to reach out to me, you know, Michelle, you can provide my email address, info@loriv.com. If there's anything, anything I have, I will share. So
appreciate that. Looks like, so Kate is said that was very helpful. So again, welcome to real estate, and you just have to start with who you know and then just grow from there. So that works out great. All right. Looks like Cheryl said Richard Robbins will give you a great buyer and seller package just for attending one of their free events. That's good to know. And let's see, Dan Bertelson, hi Dan, and everyone in Wisconsin. He said they have them there. They have access to full leverage. They're using Matt Van Winkle's program also. So that's good. All right, let me just quickly check. Looks like we're in good shape. Let's just talk really quick. Can you give us an example where goal setting really was obvious, like something that business that you missed or mistakes you made where having had a business plan might have paid off? So we'll start with you, Colleen.
I had worked very hard to get a particular listing, and this is going back 10 years now. So I had visited this guy. They were doing a condo conversion project. He wasn't going to work with me. He wasn't going to, finally worked with me. And then when we did the rollout of the condos, we did things that weren't being done at that time. So we went to the local makers of things, and we staged the property. People weren't doing that 10 years ago. We had a band come in for an open house. We had all kinds of food, all kinds of drinks, and it was really well attended. It was really fun, but I let that be a one-off. Yeah. I didn't leverage that to let people, to look how I could use that to further expand my business. And I think I could have really used that to expand my business in that particular market if I had spent a little bit of time with it. So that was an opportunity that I worked hard to get and to develop, but I could have leveraged it further.
Well, and thank you for being so honest and candid about that. That's a perfect example of just like if you're going to buy leads from somewhere, before you do that, before you set out to do something, have a plan in place to respond to those so things don't get missed. Now, in your case, you really capitalized it on that in the moment, but what you're saying is that you should have continued and built on that momentum. So thank you so much. I'm sure many can relate. Lori, what goal setting and business planning is always a win, but what are some of maybe the misses that happened to you when you didn't plan?
So I would say I actually made some notes when you said what mistakes have you made. So I think the number one mistake would be not doing one. The number two mistake would be not following through with the one you did if you did do it. And similar to what Colleen said, I think consistency. If something is working for you, do it more, do it better. That's really all I would say.
Oh, it's great. There's, we have a lot of different plans. I have a lot of items I'll send everyone in the follow-up email, but there's a really popular saying in business planning, and it's stop, start, and continue. So I think you can pretty much gather what that means. So whatever it is that's not working, just don't do it. If there's something that is working, continue it. And then if there's something else that might work, try it. You have nothing to lose at any point in time. Looks like Steve is recommending a book. Any comments on the book, The One Thing? Have been using the learning in this book. Okay, The One Thing. So let us know. We can look that up on Amazon, Steve. So thank you for that. So let's talk a little bit about any advice you would give. Like let's just say this. If you could go back to day one in real estate and do all of this over again, you both alluded to some of the things that you wanted. Would there be anything different that you would do? Anything really big that stands out, or maybe just the approach to your sphere of influence? Anything else you want to provide that, if you could hit the reset button, what would you do? So we'll start with you, Colleen.
Well, I completely agree with what Lori just said. Really put a plan down on paper and work that plan and make it be a living plan. So you don't need to stick to it. If something's not working, then just adjust that plan. Or if something crazy happens, like COVID, you're going to need to adjust that plan. So I, would really do that. And then I think looking to successful agents within your agency to say, what are they doing? How do they have success? Becoming friends with them. The agent who asked, how can I get my business going? A lot of times those people need help. They're busy. And you can learn a lot from them too. So, don't be shy. Just get out there and put some things down on paper. The reason that you goal set is it spurs you to action. Once you put it down on paper, you need to take action. There's no way you're not going to do that. So put some goals down on paper and you're going to do it.
Awesome. Lori, how about you?
I literally have almost what she said, almost what Colleen said. If I could go back in time, so I have had some great mentors, but I would definitely reach out, and I did. I did reach out to people that I admire. You know, we are a very sharing community as a profession. Reach out to people you admire and ask for help, or just get some ideas. Ask them to mentor you. You know, shadow somebody. I would say the one thing again. If I could change anything, it would be the consistency in which I do things that work. That's the big one for me.
That's solid right there. So it looks like we've got, excuse me, a few comments. So Robert says, lots of great advice. I was in the Army for 29 years and we had a saying, fail to plan, plan to fail. Well, first of all, Robert, thank you for your service. And he says, seems like this follows me into civilian life. You're absolutely correct. You're spot on with that. So let me just see some of the other, yes, thank you to both Colleen and Lori for sharing. And let's see, Katie's saying, if you have a marketing department within your brokerage, they will usually help you with buyer seller packets. Just so everyone knows, here at RE/MAX INTEGRA, we have buyer and seller guides that you can find on MaxCenter. Just do a search, just type in buyer seller guide, and those are all there for you, branded and everything. Let me see what else we have here. Any more questions, comments? I saw someone ask about referrals. It was Greg from Milwaukee about RESAS. I don't know if RESAS is available in Canada, but real estate software as a service, that's a referral, that's actually a partner of RE/MAX's. And RESAS is so Greg, that is available, it's optional, but it's a way to get referrals from small independent real estate companies in other states. And they tend to always go to RE/MAX, but that's an option, but you can join the RESAS network, I know here in the US. But always go to the RE/MAX referral directory on MaxCenter. That is going to feature over 130,000 agents worldwide. I mean, it's massive and we're in over 100 countries, but that's where you can find anybody and everybody in the network for sure. Let's see what else we have here. Lots of good shout outs to everyone. You know, again, we will, excuse me, we will go ahead and send out these resources immediately following. Flora has a question. How much money do you spend on, let's see, how much money do you spend on that? Thank you for thinking of me. Do you send someone Flora, could you clarify a little bit? How much money do you spend on what in particular? And let's see. So AQ, you're asking about RESAS in Canada. So I believe you have, and Lori can correct me on this one, you have other resources. It's just a different name for it, where you can get referrals. Lori, how do you get referrals from other independent companies across Canada?
Oh, I love this topic. So I would just to go back a little bit to the last comment is when, you know, one thing that I really, really believe in is if you go to a conference, and again, you know, COVID's not here forever, people. We're going to get back to being able to get together and hug and party and have fun and you know, build those relationships. So that's what I believe. You know, we've got lots of time to plan for that then, right? So one of the things that I really have tried to hit home to, you know, say folks who aren't doing the conferences or haven't been and they want to build that part of their business. When you go to a conference, do not hang out with your buddies. Don't, you know, when you have an opportunity to have lunch or go to the, you know, what do they call it? The marketplace where the people who are doing if they're doing personal promotional booths, it's because they want to also build their networking, their big network and the referral database. So, you know, make sure you're connecting with people, introduce yourself to people who you don't know. It's not for the ill at heart. Don't be shy, right? All that kind of stuff would be some of my advice. And it's funny, the allocation. So I just remembered what I was actually going to ask Colleen, and it can be implemented into many parts of our business. But allocation. I can't remember who you said asked the question, but how do you decide how much money you're going to dedicate to that? Well, you should really be looking at your last year's numbers, or if you haven't spent any money so far, then you just pick a budget, right? Whether it's the realtor referral one, I did break down, going to conventions and swag and buying things. And so if you're going to do that, if you're going to focus on your client database, then it's, just pick a number. Is it 10,000? I was going to ask Colleen, if I may, allocation of, what would you, Colleen, what are your expenses dedicated, not to running your business, not your Remax fees, not that kind of stuff, but in order to generate new business? What do you allocate, whether it's to farming or, I know, and that gets broken down, I know that, but what percentage of your commission would you say is that you allocate to growing your business?
Gosh, I should know that number, Lori, but you're putting me on the spot. I
know,
don't.
I'm curious because I don't know my numbers, so don't feel.
And well, and I mean, that's a really good question that is part of the business plan. So is there any right or wrong answer to that? No, I mean, not necessarily. If obviously what you will get to at the pinnacle of your career is when most of your business comes from referrals. Yes. However, it's not to discount if there's a incredible opportunity to either buy leads from a certain place, and that could be Facebook ads, that could be here in the US, could be realtor.com, it could be Zillow, it could be whatever. There's never rule out extra opportunities to get additional business. I noticed that there's a lot of excitement around referrals, which is awesome. The question Flora was asking was, how do you specifically thank people for giving you referrals? So Colleen, do you do anything special, or do any of your agents do anything that you could share with us?
We send a note, a thank you note. So it's as simple as that. I mean, I love Lori's idea of a case of wine. Wow.
So, but if I may, so that, there's two, okay. This is what I would advise anybody. And because I can say, I don't know how many, whatever, 37%. So I'm doing something right, I would guess. I would, as I said before, so a note is really important, right? Because people just want to know. So first of all, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Thank them for the business, whether that is, or just just thinking of you. So a handwritten, personally, I write my own cards just to thank you. Or if you know somebody's had a baby, send them a, hey, congratulations on your, whatever it is. If they've sent you a referral, we typically, our business model is a $15 or $20 gift, Starbucks gift card, goes in that handwritten card, and it goes out within a day or two. Don't wait, right? Acknowledge it immediately. The case of wine comes in where, like, for instance, a client. So this is a client, not that realtors referrals are any less, but most realtor referrals are coming from, like, for us, Vancouver, Ottawa. Like, it's pretty hard to ship a case of wine. So, we do the Starbucks card, but there's also one-offs, right? It's just, I had lunch with a realtor friend of mine named Julie, and I love her to death. She actually goes out of her way looking for people to move to Burlington so she can send me a referral. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. She's like, I just ask people now. I don't wait for them to ask me. I just ask them, hey, thinking moving to Burlington or Oakville? I'm kind of kidding, but on the other hand, I took her for lunch on her birthday. I brought a beautiful charcuterie board. So speaking a bit to Fiona, so the gift cards, the Starbucks, when sometimes what I send out is a little package, and it's got a glass cleaner. I saw some people, my glass cleaners are like famous. I've been handing them out forever. It's like a lens cleaner for your glasses. And it's my business card. It's brilliant for networking, but people love them. So think of useful swag, something you would use. If it's a bigger referral, it's a case of wine, it's a charcuterie board. Just make the effort to get something to them.
And the power of the handwritten note, I could be a lot better at that myself. So I think we've all defaulted to technology and texting, and that's amazing. So that's good. Let's see, last question. Someone's asking about CRM. So Dave is saying that he is in Mississauga and Oakville and a few times in Burlington, and he wants to know if you have a good CRM that you recommend. So this would be for you, Lori, but also Colleen, because a lot of the CRMs here in the US do cross over into Canada too. Any suggestions there? He said he's never had one.
Top producer for years.
Top producer, yeah. Top producer is available in both countries, for sure. Anything on that, Colleen?
We just moved over to Bouge.
Yeah. Well, that is not available in Canada. Sorry, I don't want, but that's okay. That's certainly how it goes. But you all have Lead Street, by the way, in Canada, and you should definitely look into using that, Dave. I mean, it's already included in your Remax technology tools. It is a full CRM. You can manage your contacts. There are drip campaigns. There's a lot of extra features that you can utilize in Lead Street. So that is located in your Max Center or your Launchpad. So take a look at that. There's also video tutorials on Remax University about using Lead Street. But again, so you don't have to go out and spend more money. To be honest, people have used Gmail as a CRM, a very basic one, but there's so many opportunities to learn. Lori?
You know what the best CRM out there is?
Yes, I do know
the one you use.
The one you're actually going to use for sure. And you know, a good CRM, yeah. So Steve's saying it's the one you use fully. One question just came in. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up after that. So AQ, thanks for all your questions. Have you taken any coaching out of so many, would you recommend? So AQ, I don't know if you came on late, but Lori did address that coaching aspect. But Colleen, what has been your experience with coaching? And we'll have Lori answer hers again.
You know, I haven't done a lot of that. I mean, I did the Buffini program some time ago, but it's probably a good thing to get back to. So,
sure. And you know, the key with coaching is you get to a place where no matter what it is, whether it's marketing or admin or just everything in general, all kind of, you have the perfect storm of everything colliding at once, and you realize you need help. And where does that come from? Now, don't rule out your broker owners, everyone. Your broker owner is your coach and your mentor and your guide, and your managers in your office like Colleen. I mean, they're there for you. There's not a Remax broker owner in this entire network that would not stop and help you. I can assure you that because I know so many of them. So Lori, do you want to talk really quickly about how you chose Richard Robbins out of so many to pick from?
Well, I think because I had attended so many sessions, seminars, you know, some of them are free, some of them are not. And the ones, you know, for instance, and I'm going to hold it up, Richard's RI Masters Academy, probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life. After going to one of those, I was like completely, oh, this is what I need to do. And after having attended so many different things, again, just resonated with me personality wise. There are Ken Goodfellow I mentioned. He's very, especially teams forward, very, you know, if you run your business like a business and you have a team and you really want the hardcore business planning, reach out to Ken Goodfellow. Valerie Garcia, I love Valerie. She does some stuff once in a while. She's got, and I reached out to her. This is called Setting Strategic Goals Workbook. She did these she's only got 25 of them left. I loved it. Attend seminars. And I really agree with you, Michelle. You know, we have amazing tools in the Remax system. We're very, very fortunate. Obviously, you chose to be with Remax for a reason. And your brokerage, reach out to them. But yeah, RRI, I highly recommend it.
Sure. And Cassandra's asking the name of that academy. It was called the Master Academy, but that's through Richard Robbins Coaching International. So that's
this is actually, you have to pay for this one. And it is next week. It's 2 days. So it's a 2-day conference online.
Nice. Wow. You have to drink a lot of coffee and walk around a little bit while you're watching.
They'll have cocktail hour too. We're going to do virtual cocktails.
Right. As Colleen and Lori both know, and a lot of you may know, but you can pretty much get a free consultation session from any coach in the industry. They will spend an hour with you, and whether it's Tom Ferry, Buffini, Richard Robbins, Travis Robertson, I mean, any of those that you reach out to, just about every one of them has a free hour of a consultation. So no obligation, no cost. That is a good way to vet all of these coaches to determine what's going to be the right. Viral Workman is also another fantastic one. Find out who's going to be the best fit for you. And no, you may not get to work directly with Viral Workman or directly with Tom Ferry, but they have an incredible network of coaches. A lot of our RE/MAX agents across the globe and across the country, both countries, are certified coaches for a lot of these programs. So maybe when you reach out to them, say, well, can I work with a RE/MAX agent that's a certified coach? That might be a better approach, and go about that way. And yes, it does cost. So you have to get to a place where you're comfortable with that and willing to make those investments. All right, so we're going to end, we're going to wrap this up, and I'm actually going to end this with a really good quote from Lori, who wanted to share this with everyone. And I'm going to show it right now, and it's a great way to end it. So let's wrap this up. Thanks for staying extra with us. I knew this topic would go a little long, but final words of advice to everyone, starting with you, Lori.
Oh, just, yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Don't not do it because it seems big and scary. Just do it, write them down, and yeah.
Okay.
My best advice, write your goals down.
I love it. Colleen, final words of advice to your RE/MAX peers, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I would say keep it simple. Start off with three goals and knock those out, and then set 3 more. So don't come up with a huge list. Try to keep it short, and you'll achieve them that way.
Sounds really good. I want to go ahead and wrap it up with just a quick reminder to everyone that we have, hold on just a moment. Let me get back to where I want to go. We have a complete series going on here. So we just completed the goal setting for 2021. These are the upcoming topics that will be, we have 4 weeks left of this. The entire playlist is on the RE/MAX INTEGRA YouTube channel. So I'm really excited about these next 4 topics. We're going to end with a very special session, and we're going to have some of the top performers in the entire RE/MAX network that will be sharing on the reflections and lessons of 2020. So thank you so much to everyone for joining us. I especially want to thank my panelists, Lori and Colleen. It's been an amazing time getting to know you even better, and I really appreciate all your expertise and sharing. So thank you so much, RE/MAX, for attending. We'll see you next week. Same place.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.